shake off.
We got a visitor.
Water's going real slow behind there.
Yeah. It's like the same water she had last month.
Must be.
I'm just here to try out your new thing, your new fancy machinery.
Didn't get any yet, unfortunately. It's just a laptop right now.
Oh, it looks fancy from here.
That scene of the merry-go-round from the fair. Behind
If they have anything, sitting in those,
Right.
the green
Got the
screen.
treasurer behind it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready when you
All
are.
right, we'll bring the meeting to order. What time it is?
Okay.
Is Rodney gonna show tonight? Or?
No, he is not. I gotta quiz Mariah about that.
He said he
Me? What's that? What do I have to do with Rodney? Not coming.
You live right beside him.
Yeah.
Check his
Well,
phone
he
for his
told
number.
me that he hurt his back, but it
He-
looked to me like he had a sling on.
I think was it his shoulder?
I think it was his shoulder,
Oh,
and I think he's in a lot of pain right now.
Oh,
So he went to the ER on Sunday,
Hmm.
and he had a doctor's note excusing him until at least Thursday or Friday, I think.
he shared a room with Betsy Rice.
Did he fall off a step ladder?
Half the
I
town.
don't-
was he painting his
I don't
board?
think he did anything. I think he just sort of, him all of a sudden, I think he thought it was pinched nerve.
Sandy moved?
That I don't know.
You gotta start something good going there.
Okay, so did
Okay.
everybody have a
Look
chance to look at
forward.
the minutes from last meeting? I emailed them to you. No?
Yeah, well, I'll turn it
Was I there?
on,
And I
but I
sent
don't
you guys.
remember where. it
Yeah.
was.
I
Yeah,
was there.
you were there, you
Yeah.
attended.
I got yours.
Was this the one that you?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not
I,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I didn't have those ones right now.
I looked at John's.
I'll bring them up at the next meeting.
Oh, maybe I did read these.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I emailed them to you,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
come in with your agenda.
Did you get us all
Yeah, I
highlighted?
read this.
Do you need a highlighter?
Our former
And-
administrative assistant, so he gave us highlighted.
Whoa, well, let me go get some.
Well, Eric's got it.
Were you at this meeting? You were.
Yeah, it says I was.
There you go.
I vaguely remember it. Oh, you
Were you there?
think so?
You can finish looking over it.
No, I've already looked at it once. I was just kind of doing it. Yeah. I'm sure there's some.
Oh, this is one.
Okay, perfect. You're right at the start. Yeah, you're top of the list.
Yeah, no,
You worked your
Well,
way
I
up.
I got it on with Mariah.
Well, I was late anyway.
That's fine. Whoa.
Oh. Right line.
Use them up.
Do all the road equipment have nitrogen under the seat? It sounds kind of deadly. Just the loader?
Just the one that would automatically reject you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you push the wrong button now.
Can I get your name for the?
Jim Marion.
Thank you. M-I-R-I-A-M.
Merriam.
Down on 14 Heritage Frame.
Yes, and then the Carter Farm.
Yeah.
After 30 years, it's not the Merriam Farm, but when I'm dead, it will be.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I was gonna say, some of those farms still have biblical orders, dude. They're like, do you know where so-and-so's farm is? I'm like,
I don't think the Harringtons have lived there since maybe 60s, late, early 70s.
with their farm, they were
Where's that?
probably the original
Where's
owners.
this?
Route 14, go down Allen Wheatley's.
Yeah, Alan's my neighbor. Alan surrounds me, and then Keith and Chelsea to the north of me, and they use all of Alan's.
Barns on the east side and the house on the west side, with stone all out front. There's a bunch of veggies.
Used to have 6 greenhouses. We're down to 1.
Okay.
Pond.
Have a pond.
Yep. It's hard to see it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, very hard to see.
I've noticed it.
Well, hopefully you don't see it from the highway. It's clothing optional.
I don't know why I know it's there, but
Yeah, John Craig actually.
maybe, yeah, I saw it was being built.
Yeah. I don't know if you know John very well, but I said, oh, it doesn't have to be that big. I had something like in mind like this. And John's
Yeah.
excellent at being able to like match something to the land.
Yeah.
And he made a pond much larger than that.
I keep thinking of the big picture.
Yeah, it's great. He did an awesome job.
Plenty of water for the pond.
Last year it dropped. But this year I got still water flowing in. Like
Well, that's good.
every 5th September, it drops off the outflow a little bit, and then usually we get a hurricane or something. And
Oh, it's good. It doesn't dry out. Does it?
no. Last year, as you probably all know, awful.
Yeah.
There was stuff in Brookfield that Alan said that he'd never seen.
Yeah.
Me too.
Did you get any rain last night over here?
By the way,
I got
That's good.
Um,
Oh, it was dry.
I talking to a girl who was up South Barry, and she said they just got a few sprinkles up there.
Usually it goes around Tunbridge, but last
Yeah.
night we actually got it.
Yeah.
South Tunbridge, they got some wind too.
You didn't lose your power.
No, it blinked a few
Some
times.
people have Roland lost their power.
I ate really fast,
Just in case.
just in case.
Mike was working in the shop and he said it had one fairly close hit and it made the fluorescent lights go on brighter and they stayed on bright the rest of the night.
Ooh. That's scary.
Did you see these already?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have some follow-ups right on this too.
You getting your head shaved or just a belt job?
I don't know, do I need to?
No, didn't you say you took it up to Sanborn?
No. I'm having a block. The
Oh,
lower
a
end,
block.
the
I
lower
thought you
end.
said,
I think my head's okay.
that's
I haven't- I
your
haven't just-
opinion.
I haven't got a second opinion on that.
That's right.
At least I hope it's okay.
I mean, not just,
Mhm.
not just things.
You got through the whole first page, so you're doing well.
No, I was just thinking things we need to.
You can't remember them all now.
You can't.
You gotta mark them.
What was this? It says the town has around $300,000 in surplus. This has been accumulated over the years.
Well, that's what Becky was saying,
Over
right? That our
several
three,
years.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
that 300,000 was over the course of a couple different
Overpayment
years.
to the
Yeah.
school and like the taxes. You know how sometimes it's.
No, I know, but it sounds like over the years, like we had a surplus last year and we didn't deal with it.
Well, I think.
Some
we
of the
did, like,
monies,
Yeah,
Because some of the
So-
monies wasn't,
yeah, so anytime we don't completely spend our budget, I mean, we dealt with one year, there are a bunch of years we didn't deal
Okay.
with.
I can
Some
change
years
it if
we
you
just said.
No, no,
put
it's accurate.
$50,000 towards
I just thought it was
Yeah.
just in this fiscal
overusing
year.
taxes, so there's a lot in that fund right now, which I kind of made me feel safe. Just because if we should have a rough patch, we have at least.
it was your advice to wait till the fiscal year ends and then we'll deal with whatever we have.
well, weren't we gonna deal with
Well,
something
so
this
we
time?
have to deal with highway now. General fund, what I'm gonna do is put that in a liability account and hold on to it until
Town meeting.
town meeting because it has to be voted on.
Couldn't. Does it have to be voted on?
It has to
General
be
fund,
voted.
okay.
General fund has to go
We
back to
couldn't
the
just
town.
put it against.
So we can, but we
taxes.
have to ask. We have to ask the town if that's. We could have a special meeting and say, hey, we have this much money. Do we want to put it towards taxes this year? We could also write an article that says anytime we have surplus, that's what it does. But we have to vote on that.
Yeah.
It has to go through that. But highway has to be used for the highway.
Right.
And so that's looking like it's gonna end up with 158,000. And so I don't know if we want to put that in paving to cover that paving project until that grant comes in. And then move it to the emergency repair or the emergency road fund.
Is that gonna just help with cash flow if we do that?
Yeah, it'll just make it so that when we do that, when we will have the money to pay for paving when it comes in, there'll be no deficit in that.
Didn't you suggest 3 different things?
I did give you 3 different options. There are a bunch of, I mean, you guys, I mean, we put it in the bridge fund, put it in.
Because I thought that we ought to split it up in 3 pieces. You know, put some towards paving, some towards the disaster relief thing, and the third towards the bridges or whatever. Was that the third thing you
Yeah,
suggested?
yeah, those are all the funds that are available. I mean, yeah. And we fixed our equipment, right? The
But
loader got fixed.
We could still vote to do that, but you could use the money to pay the paving right now.
Yep.
And then
When that grant
and-
comes in,
split it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely do that.
Where were we?
These look good.
Yeah,
Really good.
You kidding me?
they look great, but we marked
Found
them up.
some stakes. She's gonna have a fit of self-loathing
Me,
and mark up her own minutes now.
so where you marked is something I need to change.
Nope.
It's just what you wanted to
They're
discuss.
follow-up things, yeah,
Okay. Do you guys want to,
but we can approve the minutes.
yeah, do you want to sign them? And then I will,
Oh,
if I
sorry.
work, no, that's okay. If I photocopy it. won't
I
show up.
don't remember how to sign my
I
name.
think so.
Let's have a motion to accept the
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
I make a motion, we accept the June 8th minutes
As
as
read.
written.
So move.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
I've forgotten how to sign my name. Is that gonna be a
Very
problem?
good.
I'll sign for you.
Do you need a
Okay.
pen?
I haven't done it for a year and a half.
I don't really can either.
But on laptops, they should have like,
I got you.
yeah. Reach it as far as-
You're next.
Ooh,
Good, short finger. That's what you got.
what happened.
Oh, I cut it on a piece
ooh. Beer can, tab.
of tin. No, I didn't say aluminum, I said tin.
Oh,
It's a really old beer. Narragansett,
yeah.
that's right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So did you guys do your homework and read your town meeting minutes?
Must be-
Do you want me to give you a hard copy to take home with you and we can approve it at the next one? Okay.
How many pages is it?
It's like 8.
Hey, so it won't cost too many trees to take it down.
No, it'll be fine.
Yes, if you do that, then I'll do it.
Okay, I will print them off and physically hand
Laura
them
will
to
say,
you.
what's all this stuff on the table? Get rid of it.
Do we need to make a motion or anything to move that to the next meeting since it was on this agenda?
Oh, I make a motion, we
Table it. Isn't that,
table the
Okay.
town meeting minutes until next meeting.
I second that.
I third it.
Road report.
Wait, we have to
Um,
approve the minutes I did.
I didn't I didn't actually end up putting them on this, so we do need to. We'll do it
Okay,
next time
eventually.
too, yeah.
You don't have to hurry after all.
I'll do John's.
Rodney's laid up, and so Thomas said they had to cut some trees, limbs and stuff this morning
Mhm.
that fell in the road. They've been working on cleaning ditches, and they're gonna start doing some grading tomorrow. Because there's some water in the roads, moisture in the roads. And that loader is all fixed. They get the nitrogen
Mhm.
cans in. And so that's all done. And he said Case sent him, or somebody, didn't say who, sent him another solenoid, starter solenoid, because they were afraid that that was what screwed up the starter. But he said they haven't put it on yet, and they haven't had any problems with it. So,
They got the new started for
but the
Dave's.
new starter is from Dave. Yeah, so that's all good. And I talked to Rodney after our last meeting about Fry Road there. He went up and put two or three loads of stones and a culvert in, and he had Jim whack the branches on the side of the road because it's growed in so much. He's afraid it's gonna rip the tires off the truck. So, so that's dealt with.
Good.
Actually goes back. That's one thing, okay. What happened? What's happening with Two Rivers? Because I came up with the emergency.
I haven't
preparedness
heard,
meeting.
yeah,
Sounded
that
like
Rita was getting
There's a
done.
total
I hadn't
transformation
heard
of
that
how we
either.
deal with districts now.
That's what they said, yeah.
But I hadn't heard anything about that.
Got no emails.
No.
I haven't
No.
gotten an email or anything from Rita either. I've talked to her a few times and she hasn't mentioned it, so I'm not sure.
If you talk to her again, did you just find
Mhm.
out? Sounded like the Agency of Transportation was redesigning organization.
Yeah, I like the grants. Okay. Maybe not the ones for transportation, but like this big one coming. COVID stuff, the ARPA, whatever it is.
Right.
They're dealing with that one. That was specifically mentioned on the webinar that I went to. They specifically said that we were gonna work with our regional.
Have you heard anything about this? The rivers being pulled off some.
I only when we were talking down
Yeah.
there, did I
Was it
hear?
Rodney? Was he the one?
Yeah,
Was it Ronnie that said it, or was it? I don't remember.
I think it was Rodney that said it.
Yeah, so she might not be doing it more of the transportation stuff, which is kind of a bummer. But I think she's still doing grant. I'm not sure if they're redefining what they do.
Oh, I'll email her. Anything else for road report?
No.
Okay.
I guess that's
So
it.
Fry's in good shape now?
Yes,
Leslie? Okay.
Yeah. And equipment's all doing good. They haven't had any breakdowns.
I actually got an email. They're gonna start, I believe, the paving job on Friday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what I
Supposed to be
heard.
nice weather, so.
I can double check that.
Okay, you hear me truck that?
It's a 10 call right now. Has been for months.
I was gonna say, I feel like I gave you that truck a really long time ago and I have not seen it.
May rust out. before we get-
The Dodge is still going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the Dodge is packed out back.
Yeah, they don't want to
Heard
use
much
it
about
much.
that.
Well, it was on the road today.
There we
was.
saw.
And went by the farm. Sputtering along.
It's on its way to me.
Front wheels flopping.
around, yeah.
Now, what are we doing on Dickerman? We're not paving on Dickerman, are we?
No.
No,
Completed.
culvert first. We did work
change
in
it.
different.
Yeah.
We're paving.
the guardrails. need to go.
Oh, that's what this is. Okay, yes, guardrails are going in Friday. That's what's happening Friday.
Oh,
not
Not
paving.
paving.
Is there that much difference between guardrails and paving?
You know what? Today there is. Yes, Friday we are doing guardrails on Dickerman.
Oh, okay.
They have flaggers and all of that.
Tell them not to pay Dickerman.
I will let them know. Please don't
Yeah,
pave.
Monarch Hill is first. on the pavement list.
Next grant we get,
Surplus.
do the first 2 miles.
I don't know, Rodney wants to do all of.
What are you at?
recreation,
I
right?
2
know.
miles.
He's pushing hard for that, one.
2 what?
All of recreation.
Yeah.
What he wants.
Well, Brent will work that out.
The
This
bypass.
section can be dirt.
Well, next up is the Belknap Solar Project, which take it away.
Oh, we never been introduced. I'm Gary Mullen,
I'm Jim Marion, CEO of Norwich Solar,
John O'Brien.
East Brookfield resident. John,
Michael Features.
right. And I know where you're not
I
on
used to
halfway.
live- I used to live up on Halfway,
Okay,
but I got moved to Tunbridge.
We're gonna include you in the video here.
thank you.
Brookfield got tired.
Well, we're going to a five,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Let me know how that goes.
I want my comments on public record, but Brookfield has been, to digress for 1 second, very functional for the entire time. You know, I've got Williamstown to the north of me that's always in a drama, and Randolph, always in a drama. We've been steady, but I fear progress has made it to Brookfield.
Dig in your heels.
Is it
Yeah.
because of population? What initiated the change?
A very small portion.
Yeah, just got a bug, and
Yeah, because John said something to me that he may bail if,
luckily he rejoined.
yeah, but he could still bail.
He could still bail.
And that would be a big loss.
It would be a great loss to the town, because John, John doesn't get enough thanks. None of you guys probably get enough thanks for the work that he does, and he's been a steady hand at that work
Yeah,
for a long
very.
time.
Very.
Anyways, I'm here to talk about solar array. And this is on Belknap Brook. And this is part of the project that Shona, you're all aware of all of this.
What's
Shona,
happening at the farm? I haven't talked to Jonah and Suzanne.
so taking one step back, when the Chapmans sold, there was a variance between the appraised value and the asking price. And the way the land trust works is they won't pay for more than anything beyond.
When they put it on the market or it actually sold?
So they sold it in the land trust, Upper Valley Land Trust, as part of the deal. And so they bought it and it's transferring over to Shona.
Okay.
But they only buy what the appraised value is. They can't spend beyond. So the asking price and the necessary price was $70,000 beyond. So Norwich, my company, stepped in. We bridged that for being able to get the Chapmans to be able to go to their next place, the Upper Valley Land Trust deal complete. And then we have 2 projects that we've been working with Shona on, which either of them help pay her a lease payment that goes back to paying off the.
The 70,000.
No, the 70,000 is kind of sunk. Just the whole transaction. The 70 is really only between us, the Upper Valley Land Trust, and the Chapmans.
Oh, okay.
Shona needs this to complete the long-term business plan for the property. So we have potentially 2 arrays. It's going to be one or the other. One is a 2.2 megawatt array. Pictures here. That's the bigger one at the bottom of the page. Yeah.
And that agreement will be with the Upper Valley Land Trust or with Shona and the
It
future
would
owners?
be with, I think it's an LLC that they've created.
Okay.
It's a maybe it's a nonprofit. Maybe I shouldn't say LLC. They've created an organization that will manage this property. And so the 2.2 would participate if we win. It's an auction that the state runs, which is a who can put in solar at the lowest price program. Standard offer is the name of the program.
And that's anywhere in the state, I mean?
Yeah, anywhere in the state. They take 8 megawatts. So like 4 of these projects a year get awarded.
Oh,
And there's 1 or 2 more years of this program. And it was a way to get cheap renewables into the state. So we bid that in. Again, there's only 4 that went, so we might not win. And the bigger concern is why that might not happen is while Tunbridge has 3-phase power here, you have, I believe it's 4-gauge wire. So we're a long ways from the substation. So we would have to potentially, depending on what GMP's study says, upgrade all of that. And that upgrade could be actually cost prohibitive to even make this fly. So the
where's the
fallback.
substation?
There's one off the county road. I'm not sure if it feeds.
Yeah, I'm not sure which on this one. I know it's a few miles, and it's expensive. I know that much. That is what we're going with, but the fallback position is the 500 kilowatt array. So the upper one.
Yep.
So this is all not even statewide soil. This is all non-prime ag where we are, and on both of these. And the 500 kilowatt array would belong to a program called net metering. So this is where most of Vermont's activity on solar occurs. And 500 kilowatt array requires a few things. If you build it on a landfill or a state or Act 250 approved gravel pit, you get what's deemed automatically preferred siting.
Like Stratford Copper Mine.
Stratford Copper Mine, yes, would be. So when you don't, you have an alternate preferred siting mechanism, which basically allows the array to move into the application process. And the application process is to get what's called the Certificate of Public Good, CPG. The CPG application requires all the abutters are warned. They get a 45-day notice. There will be an aesthetics report completed and filed with the Public Utilities Commission. All abutters get a copy of that. There's the feasibility study from the utility. So as I said, Green Mountain Power looking at the lines. There will be historic preservation review, and then an extensive natural resources review, whether there's wetlands, which there's not, rare, endangered, and threatened species. All of those things get reviewed. That becomes the full part of the full application that goes into the Public Utilities Commission. Every document that gets filed, the town is copied, and the abutting landowners are all copied on that. So it's a very open public process with ample time in between each of those steps to allow anybody that has a concern to voice it. So long story here, what I'm here for today is to ask for what's called preferred siting, which allows this to go into the process. We need 3 municipal bodies: the Planning Commission, which approved this project last month, Selectboard, and then Two Rivers also reviews it, just to make sure it complies with the town plan and the regional plan.
This is in like an old clear cut.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how old. It's not old. It's a clear cut.
Right. But is it considered prime agricultural land?
Nope.
Oh,
No.
it's
If you look
not.
on, the A&R Atlas,
Yeah.
it's not even statewide. It's nothing.
Right.
There's this over here on Jones
Right.
Land is all prime,
From
but once you go on to
Pinnacle
this,
down,
it's not. And she's trying to also see if she can gray sheep in between there, as well. But I don't think it's not prime. So.
And how is it in size compared to what are some ones, like the 2 and where Deep Hill goes up in West Village, or the one
Yeah.
behind Sharon, sort of industrial.
Yeah, so the bigger, so this bigger one would be like that.
Okay.
With the exception that in the last, I don't know, what's that, 10 years old, 8 years old, the panel wattage density has increased dramatically.
Mm.
So the footprint has shrunk, even though it's the same size, just because it's advanced so much. This one has pretty good screening from 110 because it's got that hill behind.
I just read that Green Mountain Power sources all their power from renewable.
You're gonna ask me this on record, Tom.
I thought it might be aspirational. I didn't know they already were doing it.
That's a lot of power.
It's through the acquisition of renewable energy credits. And those renewable energy credits come predominantly from Hydro-Quebec.
Yeah.
And the controversy in this state is that Vermont's the only state that recognizes those renewable energy credits.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Massachusetts won't, Connecticut won't, no one else in New England.
Hmm.
So whether you could take that claim into Massachusetts, for instance, or really I think any state, and be able to make it is more of a challenge. And then they do have a lot of nuclear, carbon free.
Oh, actually, yeah.
So you have to,
Right.
it doesn't mean that sometimes when you say it's carbon free, everybody thinks, oh, it's all renewable.
Right.
It's not. So whether you're for or against nuclear power, it is carbon free.
What's your company name?
Norwich.
Is this a car?
Yes, they do. Norwich Technologies. And so I have a sample town letter. This is what I provided to the Planning Commission, and the chair was voted authorized to sign. And the request that the Planning Commission had was the middle paragraph, which is the applicant will make all reasonable efforts to allow participation by local municipal school and nonprofits to receive net metering credits from this array. And we'd be thrilled to do that. So they wanted to see if the school could participate. We love schools. We do many schools as we possibly can. Going towards Chelsea is at the Orange Parent-Child Center. Anybody that wants to participate. We like to try to keep things.
What does that mean, participation?
So this would be a net metering array. So the way net metering arrays like this work is we can allocate certain proportions of those credits to anyone, as long as they're in Green Mountain Power territory.
Okay,
So
that's like, Bob Eddy put up an array and he couldn't use it all, but he owned the building down in Randolph
Yep.
Village, so he applies.
exactly,
to
it's the
that.
same exact thing. And so we do predominantly 150 kilowatt and 500 kilowatt projects, and we've done two arrays for Hartford, Echo Valley and Washington, St. Johnsbury Elementary, town of Woodstock, town of Hartford. Do a lot of low-income housing, so Randolph Area Development, Community Development Corporation, Joslin House, Big House right on Main Street.
These are participants, or you actually?
These are
have
participants,
arrays?
all do these types of things. So we did one of my first arrays with Washington County Mental Health. We did it on the RSD building, which is the big warehouse down in Whitewater Junction,
Down in Hartford?
down in Hartford.
Oh,
So we
really?
put that array there, but those credits went actually to Washington County Mental Health because their
Oh,
roof
that's
couldn't
crazy.
support the solar.
What do you do in that case? Do you lease their roof?
So
Really?
Julie got a lease for a roof. I mean, that's their business is leasing square footage. So they get a lease for the roof. They already had an array, so
Huh.
they were covered. And then we sold credits to Washington County Mental Health. They came to us after and said, hey, we've got some land that we can't really utilize here. We developed those arrays with Washington County Mental Health. They get a lease payment, and then we did Champlain Housing Trust, a little bit of RACDC went on that one, and then Capstone Community Action got some of the credits. Well, that's the business we do, and we try to work with as many schools, nonprofits as possible, municipalities. Bradford Water and Sewer, Bradford Town have an array with us as well. So anyways, nonprofits can't take advantage of the tax credits.
Right.
So this allows the owner can take the tax credit, and the depreciation, and then they sell power at a discount to the, what's called the off-taker, the customer. So everybody kind of wins out of us. So anyways, again, long story. That's what that will be the backup program. Probably more likelihood that will end up being that way just because of the size of the wires here. And that's what this letter goes to for the standard offer project.
So what if you didn't go? with
We
the
couldn't
bigger
do the
one?
project. Oh, if we didn't go with the bigger one?
What if you could go? to the
Oh,
bigger
sorry.
one?
If we did the bigger one, that one in that program doesn't require any legislative body approval. That is all through the Public Utilities Commission. It's a state procurement of power. That's just the way the law statute is on that one.
So just to clarify from my notes here, you're
Yeah.
saying that you're more than likely going to get approved for the smaller one, not the bigger one.
Yes.
So it's most likely going to be the smaller, I believe, because of the utility interconnection requirement.
Oh,
The lottery adds a piece to it as well, but I think the bigger issue is going to be the cost of interconnection.
If everything goes according to plan, how long does it take till this is completed?
It'll take probably a year to get through the Public Utilities Commission. And then depending on the time of year, depending if there's any stipulations imposed in the certificate of public good, to actually physically build it is like a 3-month process.
I knew it wouldn't be soon.
So it would be at earliest the end of next summer, more likely this spring. I'm going to get my years confused, 2023. Again, depending on stipulations, if they said no, not until after May 1st or something like that.
so just the economies of scale, you wouldn't ever go smaller than the 500 kilowatts? Or could you do 4 times as big as this if you wanted to in that space?
There's FERC rules that kind of keep things below a certain size. The standard offer program is capped at 2.2. So you can't go larger than 2.2. And then you can't go bigger than 4.99 megawatts before you bump into FERC rules, which just has a whole layer of additional complexity. A Federal Energy Regulatory Committee. So you bump to a new layer. And there's not really a sufficient compensation for it. You need to be in flat, really sunny, no offense to Vermont, no minimal regulations. The cost of developing this is not trivial. And so when you get to those types of projects, they're done in Texas for a reason. It's sunny a lot, and it's very low cost to build those types of things.
So Vermont was a huge solar arrays.
No, they did they did the 20 megawatt in Ludlow, and they tried to do a 20 megawatt. You probably remember up in Randolph Center.
Yes.
On the White
Right.
Farm.
Yep.
That one didn't go well. There was a little bit of opposition to that one. So I think in Vermont, you can occasionally get some bigger ones, but it's very driven by the community scale. The Public Utilities Commission you still have to get a certificate of public good.
Right.
And as I said, that process is quite open, and I think opposition in Vermont to a large project like that would be pretty strong.
Well, I make a motion that Gary sign this.
I'm the chair, that's why I have to sign it.
What do you call it?
Provide the preferred siting
Preferred
designation.
siting designation under rule 5.100. How's that?
Pretty official, you've done it before.
I second that.
All right, any more discussion or debate or anything? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous.
Awesome, thank you very much.
So
Do
how does
you
that,
have anything to do with that one they're putting on Davis Road, Randolph?
I do, we do.
You do?
Yeah,
How big is that?
that's the 500.
The-
Yeah, actually, a coworker of mine bought the land right on 14.
Right,
It's got the big oak.
Right.
If you ever down through there. So he bought that and then acquired some additional land to the
from
south
Blaisdell.
from Blaisdell, and then we
Okay.
bought this land from Blaisdell. I'm sorry, Davis Hill. We bought from Blaisdell.
Your company bought it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And we just got approved by the Randolph Select Board.
Because my uncle sold that. He sold it to Kenny.
Okay,
And then they logged it.
right. We have one
Is
there
that gonna be,
visible.
yeah, from Davis Road?
I don't think so. I think it
It's
flattens
gonna
off
be-
at the top.
Okay.
We try really hard not to make things visible unless the landowner says, I want to do this and I want to do it right here. And we generally do this type of process because just because we can get something preferred automatically, I always think better to go into the community and be open about it. Hey, we're trying to do this. So we've had some spots that are truly preferred siting without having to get this from the legislative body, and we still gone through the legislative process just to make, I'm sorry, this process just to be transparent about it. And then
Those panels are gonna be facing to the east then?
no, they'd be to the
You're gonna have them facing to the
south.
south?
You know, it can take a pitch, and even if it pitches towards the east a little bit, your rows can follow the
Yeah.
contour of the land, and as long as it's not too extreme, you won't get shading between the rows. And there's software that allows you to compensate for the topography of the land, to say you need to space it like this, so that this row high up on this
Yeah.
hill doesn't shade
Yeah.
these panels
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we have one you can't see tucked in behind the Gifford farm.
Across from the barn?
Yeah, so Paul Gifford
Yeah,
lives
yeah.
up in behind
Oh,
his
really?
place. It's permitted. It's
How
hasn't
do
been
you,
built yet.
oh, hasn't been built.
Hasn't been built.
How do you get there?
So
From
you can't
the
see it.
road that goes up into the field?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh,
And then we're done on
oh my gosh.
14 because it has the same the conductor issue.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
surrounded. So,
The whole valley be covered.
the roof of farm open?
yeah.
If you want to be an off-taker, give us a holler.
Have you talked with Todd Tyson? Because we had talked about out
No.
by our sand pit too. So in the town there.
Oh, is that your on one? Sorry, right on 110.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the as you're going towards Chelsea on the right hand side. Yeah, that'd be a great spot. We'll tell you what happens with Green Mountain Power with respect to how large the wires are.
You want me to find this one or a different one or?
I tell you what, I can send if you want that electronically,
Yeah.
and I'd say you're authorized to sign it. We'll send it, and they'd like it on the letterhead.
Yeah, so that sounds like.
Okay. Makes sense.
Oh,
Whatever we do.
boy, I wish I was administrative assistant. I would have picked right up on that.
I was optimistic. I brought 12 copies.
We have a pretty big board. Brookfield does, it'll be even bigger.
Yeah,
You'll try this, Jim.
I do. I have a couple beat up cards in here. I'll try to make sure that I get some people riled up. You know, Brookfield's 5 select board members. What's Tunbridge doing? There's only 3.
We're doing
Once
just fine, thank you.
We only
This
have 2
gets
cards. I think.
Signed, do you want me to mail it back to you?
Yeah,
Or do you want me to mail it?
I'll have probably Hannah will reach out.
Okay,
Hannah will
yeah.
reach out to you. with that in soft copy.
Okay, can I keep this here?
Yes,
And then I'll make sure she gives you instructions.
Okay.
And maybe even scanning it back to us is sufficient.
How long have you done that?
I've been with Norwich for 4 years, and then I worked at, I ran Efficiency Vermont for 6 years. And then ran several programs. VEIC runs Efficiency Vermont for them for a year. And then I worked at a company, I was COO at a company called Grow Solar, which was in White River Junction. And we were,
Joel started with that.
yeah, with Dory and Jeff.
Yeah.
And, you know, we grew to a large, we're in 14 states.
Oh, wow.
And we were a big distributor. And then this country called China, probably never heard of them.
No.
This little upstart country started actually shipping panels directly from China in a container. And the whole value of our business model, literally like in 3 or 4 months, just disappeared. Chinese investment, government investment into manufacturers and their ability to just crank out product. I mean, ultimately it brought prices down, but for everybody that was in the middle,
Right,
and I sat there and watched our inventory go down, you know, in value like 20 cents a watt, you know, it would be like huge chunks, and you just gotta liquidate that material as quick as possible because, you know, it lost a third of its value in a matter of a few months. So Jeff and Dory rearranged after that one, and then I got the offer to Efficiency Vermont, which was an awesome organization.
Where are they now?
EVT moved to Winooski. So they were on the lakeside. They're in Burlington electric territory, which is like the only place they don't serve. And they moved into Winooski this last year, which is GMP territory and one of the territories they serve. Anyways, it was a pleasure. You guys are very functional.
Wife's doing that.
My wife works for, she's a independent inspector. She works for NOFA Vermont. So she does organic farm inspection. So she does hay, processing, syrup. She does massive amounts of syrup. She gets annoyed by doing hemp. Everybody wants to get rich doing hemp.
Yeah, that kind of fizzled out.
It did fizzle out, but a lot of money. And then she does vegetables, obviously. And then we sell asparagus, squash.
What's her name?
Clotilda. Parishko. As Floyd, Floyd General Store said, what? Your parents didn't like you?
doesn't sound like Al at all.
Al, thank you. I was struggling on his name. Any other questions?
Who's the first ray in Tunbridge? It will be.
I think it will be. Yeah. Your energy committee and your planning commission were awesome. You know, it was just like, it's our responsibility. It's our duty. We have this in our plan. And it's just so refreshing to, when actually somebody proposes something that's a little harder, and they were like so supportive.
Yeah.
So we got a good plan.
Yeah, no, totally functional. Well, thank you. I'm gonna
Thanks for
leave.
coming in.
My
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you. Don't get lost. Heading back over.
I'll try. I'm waiting for that pavement on Monarch Hill. I'm excited about that.
It's come.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
What's next?
Open positions that we have. So we only have 4 open positions. Truant officer, animal control officer, ADA coordinator, and recycling coordinator. So I have reached out to a couple different people and have yet to hear anything back on any sort of description of these.
No,
So
didn't the last time we talked about truant officer, didn't we have like a state cop or
Okay.
something assigned to us?
Perfect. Then I will pass that.
Did you come up with that?
The school might know.
Okay.
What's his name there? The principal.
Michael
Livingston?
Yeah, he might know.
I will ask Michael Livingston, but for right now, I'll just take it off and say,
Yeah, because I think we hashed that over
Okay.
Yeah,
several years ago when we found out the state police assigned someone.
Because it doesn't really exist.
Right,
I actually, yeah, I did the minutes for the FBUD, and they do Orange County Sheriff as their truant officer, which I would assume would fall over
We are-
us because
We are.
we're
we
FBUD.
are.
So, okay, then that's taken care of. So these last three, I
Maybe
guess,
just confirm.
yeah. I guess I'm just going to come up with some sort of description that would fit the town of
So like
Tunbridge.
the league or nobody
Yeah,
knows whether
yeah,
these are
nobody,
required or not?
yeah, nobody got back to me, so it was helpful.
Is Kathy Terame interested in recycling?
Yes, she just wants a description, so I was
Oh.
trying to get a description to
Well,
give to
make-
her.
make something up.
Required, yeah,
Um,
that one seems like you could pick it up.
Right,
We'll just
so,
turn it around, say coordinate recycling.
exactly. So I will send you off what I find or what I write, and then it'll just be a little blurb. It's not gonna be very long, 1 or 2 sentences, and then I'm gonna post it on Front Porch Forum and all of that, but I will email it to you guys so that you can see it.
Sure.
But I'm gonna try to get that done this week, so that's out there.
The animal control officer, that one I think towns are supposed to have. I think a lot of vacancies. And
Right.
there's a statute change that may turn into something different. Okay. You can't just appoint someone to it. It's training, so. And then the EDA, it seems like we should be able to get in touch with. That's probably federal initially.
You would
I
think,
mean,
yeah.
have jurisdiction over it. And so it seems like maybe like a lobbying group, you know, like there must be some runners with disability lobbying.
That we could
group.
just join. some-
Or just ask them like,
Yeah.
does does every town have an ADA coordinator?
So what I did look up off of the Secretary of State's office for local office descriptions, the ADA coordinator and the recycling coordinator were not listed. So I don't know if they're actually required. But if we want to go ahead and have one, I can still put a little blurb out for it. I mean, we've never had, as far as I know, an ADA coordinator.
I don't really know why we need one in particular.
Yeah.
Because if we come out of compliance, somebody's gonna come and tell us that we're out of compliance.
Yeah, that's what I think. State or a lobbying group that
Okay.
just know what other towns do.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
so I
like,
had reached out to the listserv as well, which is every other town clerk in the whole state.
Oh, really?
And I said, hey, these are my things I need directions for. Tell me if you do it. And 0 people replied to me.
Really?
So I had 0 luck at getting any of these, but that's why I'm just going to kind of brainstorm. Maybe Becky will help me brainstorm. We'll use our brain.
I feel like ADA coordinator, like, I feel like you don't necessarily need a coordinator as long as we have a policy.
Okay.
In line with whatever. it
Yeah,
requires,
I mean, if we just
Like our
have,
elevator, for example.
I mean, because I think in our personnel policy, we have language about ADA. And what our policies are regarding that.
Mhm.
You know,
Right, because it's
So,
not,
yeah, I mean, essentially that just says that like when we, moved the shifter handle for Thomas and we bought a new mouse for Darlene so that she can come into her hands.
Right.
I mean, those are things that we don't even really fight.
right.
They're just done. As long as we have a policy and we follow it, we should be okay. I can't
Yeah.
imagine, like, we just don't have enough employees.
Well, and to like, it's not like we're building a lot of town buildings where we need somebody to like help us plan like ramps and things like that. Like, I don't really.
And if we
I wonder if the select board could be the governing body that administers the ADA stuff. I mean, basically what you were talking about, just if Darlene needs something new, then she comes to us and we say, sure.
I was gonna say, I just considered it that by law, we have to provide it for her.
Right.
Right.
So I just went
Right.
ahead and said, sure, that's an office supply that, I mean, it was a relatively easy fix for her.
Right.
I mean, when we have to alter a truck, they probably have to come talk to you because that's a bigger fix.
Right.
But, I mean, there are fairly strict laws about what we have to comply with.
Right.
So, yeah, when Darlene was like, well, it would be really nice if I had a mouse to help me with my hands, I didn't even blink. I was like, sure, just let me know what you need. Because, yeah, if we say no to that, then we're.
Well, FBID might know too, because like the schools has to have.
I'll reach out to the board.
I've never even heard of an ADA coordinator. That's usually like an HR
Yeah.
kind of
Or somebody at the
job.
state level, just like. tell you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that there again, that Mr. Assistant could be that person.
And I wonder if this is something left over from when it was a very new
Right.
law that, you know, they were like, here's what you've got to have. So we made this position, you know, 50 years ago, and we.
Right, well, we didn't used to have a ramp, for instance, and so at some
Yeah.
point we had to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like this is one of those long ago leftover things that
Yeah.
we are holding on to because we just don't know what they are. Which is-
Okay, so I'll look into then nixing the ADA as well.
Yeah.
So now we're just down to the animal control officer as well as the recycling coordinator. And I guess I can just maybe look some language up somewhere about recycling coordinator. And then maybe, should I reach out to Kathy too and see what she's interested in
Right.
doing?
Why not? She can define the position.
Okay.
Did you hear back about the animal control officer from anybody?
No. And I know that was, you were saying it was gonna have a lot of stipulations and stuff with it because it's kind of like
I can get you.
that would be great.
Can I jump in here for a second on the ADA coordinator situation? There's guidance for small towns on ada.gov, and I believe you only need a coordinator if you have 50 or more employees. But you could look at the ada.gov site and check it and make sure that that's like the updated situation. I mean, it's good to have an ADA, someone who is a contact for ADA concerns, I think, but I think you only need the official role if you have, I think it's 50 or more employees.
Thank you. I'll definitely look
For a while.
at
The 12 on the select board. Right?
it. Okay.
All right.
I think that covered that. And then, so this is all the stuff I was supposed to look at last week. Septic info, the Sherville, the junkyard, liquor licensing approval, Zoom meeting, permanent setup. So as far as the septic goes, I looked online and I called our
For
local,
Gilly Road.
yes. And I called the state of Vermont and the local guy who was in our area, left a message, didn't hear back. But I explained to him the situation, said, you know, what does the town have legal right or responsibility to do? I will follow up with him because I haven't gotten a phone call back.
That wouldn't be Mr. Mason with it.
I can't remember what his name was. I called last week. But I didn't find much more anyways from that.
Well, I think the health officer has been pursuing that pretty
Okay.
diligently. She probably won't now, but I think she was, and she
Okay.
wasn't getting any answers from anybody.
Right, exactly. For, and as far as phone calls to the state and stuff. So I will give him another call, and I will call Betsy too and see if she has any other information I can give you guys.
Well, just in general too. How non-compliant septic
Right.
situations are dealt with for us, because they're gonna, I mean, as a board, they're always gonna keep coming.
Right.
Be nice to know the process.
I had a good septic story the other day.
Yeah,
Um,
share it with us.
Guy Rock worked for, he just retired from Green Mountain Power. He worked for 40 years. He started when he was 22, he's 62 now, he's retired.
Who's this, Bucky's uncle?
No,
Bucky was.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's gotta be a cousin of Bucky's.
Yeah.
And anyways, he was telling, well, Dave Dempsey works for me now, and they used to hang out back in the old days. And so they were going to a Red Sox game once, and they rented a van because there was 6 or 8 of them going. And Guy was gonna work this half a day, and cleaned up and meet him, and off they go. Well, he didn't show up. They were waiting, and they're about ready to give up on him, which is not like him. And he come flying in on 2 wheels and showing stuff around, jumped in the van, ugly. And they took off. They said, well, what's going on? Well, he's up to Scott Ackerman,
Yeah.
up on Bicknell Hill.
Yeah.
And they told him to go out and read meters because he's only gonna work half day. So he walked up to the meter with his clipboard, and he's looking there, and he said all of a sudden he started dropping. And he said it was the weirdest feeling he ever had. He said, my God, the ground was settling under him. So he
Sinkhole.
stepped back and he went right to the top of the septic tank. Went down in the septic tank.
Did it scare you right out?
And drove down the bottom of the hill and jumped in the river. And
Yeah.
rinsed his clothes out, and then went home, took a shower for an hour. And and he said that was the weirdest feeling he ever had. So he was standing there, and all of a sudden I started dropping.
Oh,
So,
God. Not where you want to drop. is it?
Ah.
Wow. The roof was a match for him.
yeah.
They probably had no permit up there.
It's all right.
Probably had a sunroof.
So I also looked up information and I found it from Fish and Game about the Sherwood. And they just suggest for towns to mow it like, frequently, and that eventually it will kill the roots. Like there wasn't much other thing that they suggested, like mow it as often as you can. And they said it would take a long time. It could take years,
Oh.
but eventually it'll
It does,
kill
I mean,
the root system enough.
It never blooms.
Right.
right. If you get it before the seeds.
Yeah.
It won't spread.
Because when I lived in Brookfield, there was some at the end. I made the lawn bigger, and there was some there, and you know, it's horrible, but I just kept mowing it. Pretty soon it goes away.
We still got to move to Tunbridge.
Yeah. I got over it.
And anything from transportation?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And then I can't remember what we had talked about, but somehow I was to look up a salvage yard, a definition of a salvage yard.
Junkyard.
Yeah, junkyard. So it's 4 or more unregistered motor vehicles for more than 90 days. Exactly. And then they do have like specific
Yeah, it does take
permits
a
that
long
they are
territory.
supposed to like apply for and stuff through the A&R. And they're supposed to.
Enforcement.
There wasn't anything really on enforcement. I haven't been able to find much on enforcement at all.
That's a little too.
Yeah. I know, because a lot of this, that's what we were looking for, is like, what can the town do? And nowhere, anywhere that I like, they kind of just beat around the bush, like, this is what a junkyard is. They have to apply for a permit. And then that was all. I'm like, okay, perfect.
I jump in for a minute. I've studied this a little bit. The state won't give anybody a junkyard permit unless they have a certificate of location from the town. And then there's a whole, you can go on the DEC website under A&R, and there's a whole page of assurances of discontinuance and civil complaints and so forth. There's a multi-step process that can take a long time to shut down one of these junkyards. I've talked a lot with the attorney from DEC about some situations, and they pursue them, but it's a lengthy legal process. But technically, there has to be something from the town before the state can even issue a permit for one.
So the town has to approve it before the state can issue a permit.
Right. This is for like
For it to be a
officially
legal
permanent
junkyard.
junkyards. Right.
Yeah.
But we're
But what
trying,
are you gonna do? Yeah,
but to get rid of a junk.
that's
is-
not even a legal
is
junkyard.
Possible.
Right.
And most of them are just de facto junkyards. They're not permanent.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because that one on Route 4, East Brookfield.
Yeah.
I went to court with that 3 times. And they've levied fines against him and everything else. And it's still right there.
Right.
There's nothing the state will do about it.
Well, they're active with a couple in town. The state is currently active pursuing a couple in Tunbridge.
Which are not non-permitted.
Right.
Yeah, they're non-permitted,
Okay.
and fines have been paid and notices have been served and assurances of discontinuance have been agreed to by one. And they're making some progress, but it'll be another 1 to 3 months before it goes back into court. So it just takes a long time. But they're on them. They're pursuing them.
David, are there other designations too, like, you know, if they're toxic chemicals, you know, leaking from,
Well, that's what I always
Something.
thought. These guys got antifreeze and
yeah,
battery acid leaking everywhere, but it seems to make no difference, so.
right, let
They
us-
cite them for it and fine them for it. And, you know, try to force them to remove the materials. They dictate that if you're going to scrap a car, you have to do it in an enclosed like vessel that captures all the liquids. But, you know, lead acid batteries and those kinds of things they list and try to clean up. But again, it takes a long time.
yeah, I know they're understaffed.
It's just the time in the courts. You know, it can be months between hearings.
Okay, so I guess I'll go back on that and maybe call and see again if I can find. Were we looking for a specific, are we just looking to have like the steps and have them kind of like easily accessible, or are we looking to pursue a specific person?
Well,
Because I think,
I think what,
yes, okay, yes.
I think what we were looking for was to see if we could clean somebody up or.
Right.
or get
The
'em.
property we discussed last week
Yeah.
on that we sent the letter to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I make just one last suggestion for you,
Yep.
Mariah?
Yes, please.
Peter Walke is the commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation.
Okay,
And you have to prod him a little bit, but he is approachable and he seems like a good guy.
okay,
And his contact information is on the DEC website. It's
Perfect.
WALKE.
thank you. I will reach out to him directly then.
Mhm.
Mostly, in my opinion, we just, when the junkyard, the undocumented junkyard starts spilling into the road and causing a
Right.
public hazard.
Right.
We'd like to be able to push it. Even if we don't like it there, we'd like to push it out of the road.
Right, yes. Okay, so then I will contact this guy.
I wonder what happens to in the case, say one of these places wanted to, you know, sell their property.
Mhm.
Are there potential legal issues there?
Right,
I think so, because
because it. You would think, well, I mean, but not complaining, but, you think. Test the soil or something.
well, and also, I vaguely remember years ago, I had somehow, I don't know if I bought land or I don't know what was going on, but I had to sign a document, or I saw a document that said that I, signing the document, agree that there's no contamination, there's no oil,
Right.
there's no whatever.
It's not a brown field.
Right. And so if you had a junkyard, I mean, if you had 50 cars out in the field, I don't see how you'd ever guarantee that there wasn't battery acid or oil or
Right,
something in the ground.
right.
Getting into
Like-
private property.
Like he said, you know, you're supposed to have a contained place and you
Right.
drain the antifreeze, you drain the oil.
Right.
You do all that stuff, but if they're just sitting out leaking.
Right.
Especially if you're taking parts out.
Right. There's that potential anyway.
Yeah.
And especially if it goes on for years and years and
Right,
years.
right.
And then I looked into if I could approve the liquor licenses and then just tell you, no, can't. So I'm
goes
really
that
striking
plan.
out all week long here. You guys have to approve the licenses. So I don't know if it needs to necessarily be warned. I think something I can just scan and email to you, and you guys can say, sounds great, and then I can send.
Yep.
Do
And
we have
then,
to make like a motion to approve it though? That
I
would be part of minutes
No,
somewhere?
I don't
think so.
believe so. It
We
just
We
says,
don't usually, I don't think. We just discuss it and we say, yeah, go ahead, and then Gary signs it.
yeah, it just
Or
says
Mariah
that
signs
the
it.
select board as local control commissioners must approve the licenses, but then I can sign it and send it off and do everything after. I can sign on behalf of the board, but you guys just have to approve the license first. So it
So it
wasn't,
just has to be in the minutes that we've approved.
right.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, I can put it.
would have to go up at a meeting.
Yes,
probably,
yeah.
though.
So I guess what I can do then is I could send them to you guys if I got more. I
With
mean,
the
I don't know.
paper trail
Yeah,
that we
and then,
approved it.
yep, and then I will just bring it up in a note,
Yes.
like at the meeting and say, these were the ones you approved
Yep.
over
Right.
the course of the 2 weeks or
Right.
whatever. Okay. And then the last thing was we had briefly discussed
Keys.
a Zoom, like some sort of, permanent
Right.
fixture here.
Recording
I reached out
practice.
to RB Technologies, who we have everything else with. They're working on getting 2 different quotes for us. One that includes like a fixed screen and then like a camera system and everything. They said it probably will be over the $1,000 mark,
Mhm.
just because of the camera setup and everything that they're gonna do
right.
for it. And that they're going really fast. So once they find one, if we have already pre-approved it, then we should move on it.
What's wrong with that, though?
I mean, if you like that, that's fine.
No, that's fine with me because
Okay.
people are able to,
How does
We-
the audience like?
yeah.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that would be different is if you had a actual like conference room setup, if you were going to permanently do this all the time, then you will like everybody who was at this table
Right.
would be able to be seen and heard easier.
And there are other,
Uses and stuff.
well, other commissions and groups that will
Right.
use it too.
And
so-
then you would be able to see, like Eileen wouldn't be like this small, she would be on the whole
I
screen.
don't know if we
you-
want that.
Wait, I don't want that either. Just kidding. Everybody else is gone.
I know, it's
Yeah,
just you and I. But
Yeah,
also
all the players.
too, Becky, we're waiting on the slides from that class that she took for the ARPA grant that we're
Uh-huh.
getting. I don't know if that is something that would fall into that. I mean, it's a COVID expense.
So, yeah, we'll just have to look. There's such big categories. I mean, essentially, we can look and see what revenue we lost, which, I mean, we did lose some. Apparently, the federal government says that if you don't make a 4.1% increase in your revenue every year, then you have a revenue loss. And the guy that was running the meeting said, I have yet to see a Vermont town have a 4.1% increase in their revenue ever.
Never thought about that.
So there's a whole, I don't know if that would generate very much.
Just haven't generated any.
I was gonna say, it's a small town, we don't have a whole lot of revenue. So I don't know if that would generate,
We have tax revenue, grants, state
yeah,
aid.
I mean, we definitely lost things like, the town hall is not used.
Oh, that's true.
The rec wasn't able to have any of their breakfasts. There were definitely things that we normally would bring in that we didn't, but I don't know if that's gonna generate a whole lot. So,
It has to be connected to losses, or can you, like, are there access things like this whole,
so
this is an
so
access
this is
issue?
where, like, there'll be a lot more clarification coming down the road. We just have to say, yes, we want the money at this point, but because they're very
So
vague. They're
how
like,
do you make that decision?
use it for sewer things, or drinking water, like we could
You
probably
would have to
do
do that.
that. Well, or even get the generator down there for the drinking water,
Right. Well, that's what I think.
that,
Yeah.
we could get our records covered, that's
Mhm.
definitely something. I don't know, there are a lot of things that I'm just not sure, I can't say, yes, that is
Yeah.
definitely
Well, nobody
there.
knows, I don't think that.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
it's very
Record
big.
too?
No, thank you. No. I just think it would be something to look into if we're going to continue this hybrid model of
Right.
select board meetings, you know. I mean, this is fine for the time being.
Well, I guess like you said, it's not,
Right.
And whose laptop is this?
Mine,
Yeah, so you're not here for every meeting,
right.
even though all that, so far, like all town committees are using the same Zoom account.
I'll grab another one before I go.
You know what, James?
Not perfect.
I wanted to get this first meeting off the bat.
But do you want to, we discussed, Becky and I did, I know this is kind of jumping forward to the other business and was the warrants, but we need a point person for the ARPA grant. Would you guys
For
want?
every grant going
Oh,
forward.
excuse me, for every grant going forward. Do you guys want to appoint me? Obviously, you will have the ability to, you know, be
Fire
the
you.
final say. Yeah, fire me down. Be the final say, but just somebody who like is going to type it all up and like say we want it and put all the information forward. We needed to like appoint a person to do
I
that.
think you do a grand job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
John wants to fire me.
No, I said just reserve the right to fire you
course.
if you just have too much power.
Oh,
You're already trying to let everybody drink in town.
me, oh, with the liquor licenses,
That's right.
yeah. I know, it's
Take our
gone to
power
my
away from
head,
us,
the town of Tunbridge power.
But yeah, but you have to move it and approve it so that we can point to this meeting saying that Mariah is now our authorized representative for grants and other financial.
This wasn't my idea either, John. It
So-
was
so
Becky's.
moved.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if one of you want this job, but I mean, then you would have to sign every grant
My head
Where-
would explode then.
But
where.
traditionally, Bell, I think, is administrative.
Yeah,
assistant.
yeah.
So it's not-
I was gonna say Jillian signed them all. I don't know whether she was but I think it's always been the AA.
Yeah.
Historically been that person. But in this meeting, they specifically said that it had to be voted on in a select board meeting to be considered a legal
We can do that.
representative.
You can make that motion.
Was that the motion? So
Did you get that?
I move to officially appoint our administrative assistant, Mariah Seeley, as our point person for all grants going forward.
Go.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye.
But
I know this is like being picky, but you might want to say authorized representative.
I think you wrote that down.
Just because that is their terminology, it's on every piece of paperwork I've ever seen now. Authorized.
Not the point person, the authorized. We will make up cards.
you're gonna have to buy her a blue light or something. Okay.
Bad.
She can share the car with the constables.
Hold on, I like
That's right. Okay, approve warrants was the next on the list here.
We have actually paper
I
warrants,
think
I assume.
These are it here.
Nice.
nice.
That's a handful.
I was gonna say, on top of that is all the financial reports. Where we
This stuff
stand.
here, okay. So we have
I made 4 of them.
one.
It's very exciting.
One for me as well.
For the authorized representative.
It's been a long time since we did it like this, so I was
Yes.
like thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, you like this? I don't even remember.
The year, Becky.
Currently on, it should be all of the expenses. I racked my brain, make sure that I hit everything, I put tickets on there.
622. Whoa.
and I tried to get all the income that,
One more thing, cycle.
we got everything we need on here.
Friends of the
Friends of the
library,
library, so that is just it.
is that money coming in?
No, that's money going out that came in as a memorial donation that should have gone to the friends.
Oh,
but didn't to the town.
okay.
So I told her to just wait to closer to the end so that. So that's just sending that money their way.
Did we order some more flags?
We did,
300.
we did. Yeah. Well, there was 100 downstairs, so we were. Actually, we'll email them to see when those will be in.
Are you gonna be around to hand out flags, John?
I could be. Are you?
Probably, unless I wreck the race car, I will have the race car on the fairgrounds, so I can come up here and
These are
do
your
that before the
minutes.
P-raid.
Oh, you are in the back, factory.
Okay, well, I don't want them to hit the ground though.
Long ways down from this track.
I was thinking about these Casella things. Lori and I, middle of May, went up to Derby, camped. The weekend. We drove around and we saw,
Commentary.
I actually saw the part of the landfill.
Really?
It's massive.
Oh, it must be.
And then there was this one whole side hill. I thought, what the hell's on that side hill? And I think it didn't used to be a hill. They just built this mountain and now it's all covered with something on the side of it where they reseeded it. It's just, it is really massive. Do you ever see Eli Childs?
Yeah.
Can you tell him, and now I haven't seen him, but there's one more sign north of town, it's the historical district
Okay,
sign that he needs to mow around, because
okay.
the weeds are coming up pretty high. And we didn't actually put that on his,
We always forget it.
on his contract,
Okay.
but if you could just do it.
Yeah.
Charge us
Does he do
15
the
bucks.
ones out of town?
No, Chris Howe does that
Does
one
that
because
one.
it's part of his big
Right,
farm. But we missed that one before it passed.
I was pretty sure I had put that out on his. Been,
I don't remember
There's two,
seeing it.
because there's
I'm
the
gonna
welcome
go
to Tunbridge and then there's the
Yeah.
historical one.
but, oh, there's probably, okay, so
Yeah.
we definitely, because we did the welcome. to Tunbridge one.
Right.
Okay.
Did Mariah
Would it be,
Lawrence email you anything about
feasible
the fence?
for-
Yep, I have it right here.
Rodney to buy a couple more culverts, some on hand. See until we have,
Starting a new budget, anything's possible.
well, I just saw before the end of the month.
I mean, if you guys want to do a special approval for it,
No,
we can do that.
just maybe look at it before next year, end of next year.
Where's Beauregard?
There's a
Loader.
I think a Milton or someplace like that.
Where is it? Oh,
I think
Oh,
Milton.
Chester.
It was up there somewhere.
It's sold to Doug Giles.
Really? Oh. It's nice he lets us use his loader. But we get to pay for all the repairs.
Is he ever the road commissioner at one point?
He was on the select board,
Sure.
more than likely whatever year the loader
You
was.
were on that.
it says 2011.
Oh, you weren't with Doug?
I was, we
Overlap.
overlapped 1 or 2 years, I can't remember.
The loader is 2011.
I came back on in 13, I think, 12 or 13.
Could have been the loader before that.
Oh, right.
No, that was a cat.
Oh, Pace backhoe, that's the 98.
Slide that cheese over there, that's pretty good.
Slide me a cracker. John's
The middleman.
not doing well in the middle. That,
But this year,
more about ready to go. I ordered for it. Didn't look at them. And one of them looks like a pretzel.
I'll take a cracker this time too.
that's my hand.
Thank you.
Lost them
So
before that.
Probably a good idea.
This is the first time I've had 3 signatures on this.
I know.
It's not.
Are these the minutes that I gotta sign?
Yep.
Someday when it's raining. Haha. Come and sign it.
So never.
Never rains anymore. What's this?
I was still looking at, yeah.
Pay increases.
Oh, those are the ones that are already voted. I just always have you guys sign. They've already been approved. I don't know why I have you guys sign them other than,
I was getting a big raise this year.
Not yet.
You're getting acknowledged.
hopefully.
Have you heard from Ben at all? Does he get to reach out to you when he's at camp?
What's that?
Where is he?
Is it Hosmer Point? Raspberry?
Nice.
And I get to read a little blog every night about what they're doing.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, they're really good. I wrote him a letter today. And sent it to him. Pictures on it. I was like, I don't want to make him homesick.
Yeah,
I don't want him to feel like
you've forgotten about him.
I forgot. Yeah, like I used to love doing mail camp, so that was like.
Did you write him an email or an actual mail?
I mean, I actually wrote him a
Oh,
letter.
nice. That's even better.
I like things. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes for him.
He's gone for a week.
Yeah.
Will he get it in time?
So I'm thinking he only has to go to Craftsbury, so I'm thinking he only should be there tomorrow. He may not be. He may not get it. It's fine.
Just a thought.
So Helen's our assistant town clerk officially.
Is she?
Do we have an assistant treasurer now?
Mariah's my assistant
John
treasurer.
Gordon.
Mariah has like every hat next to town.
Yeah,
I tried to just,
You noticed?
Sucking up
I
power.
try to make it very hard for you guys to get rid of me, because then if you do, it's like
Get rid of
6
her now.
positions, and then you.
Notice the road foreman who was next door is not doing well.
That's right.
Should be doing that. In a couple months.
You
Could
don't
you
want
imagine?
So you can do it from Zoom.
That's right. While I'm town clerking, I'll zoom them and be like, did you guys do those ditches up on that
That's right.
road yet?
Well, the trucks will have computer screens.
Cameras in them,
Yeah.
so she can see what he's
That's
doing.
right.
It's like FedEx.
Either that
Yeah,
or
the
think.
XPO driver told me they have cameras. look down on the dashboard.
So they can see
And you
everything.
got, you come in the other day and they read about speed. You didn't get picked up or anything,
Right.
but they could.
Is it Randy Toller? Is that who you're
No,
talking about?
it's
Oh,
speed
because
flag.
he goes pretty fast.
But they're my driver who drives for FedEx. I think they almost control the speed of the truck, like, you know, like you can't go above a
Yeah.
certain.
The UPS got it really bad, because I know Mike come in one day, and he said, "Oh, this got reamed out this morning, first thing." That's what happened. Well, I backed up too much yesterday. They're not supposed to back up more than 6% of the time or something like that. So, and of course, it's all right on their truck.
Right.
I just backed up about 5 miles. I gotta take that.
Because he
With a
used to go down on Pearl Street. And he'd back down Pearl Street.
Mhm.
And then it's dead end, and you're in somebody's dooryard. So he just back all the way down, then he'd make his deliveries back out
Mhm.
and go along. Can't do that anymore.
Not safe, I'm sure.
Those dogs run over and
Kidding.
cats hit it.
We do that with logging trucks.
I became famous there when we decided to keep it for a while.
Uh-oh.
Really? Where'd it go?
He went and found himself
Really?
there. I was like, this may be a bad place for him.
How far did it go?
They didn't go far at all.
Oh.
Tom has a mare. I did not realize that she was pasturing the next pasture next to him.
Oh,
That he could see her.
it's the downfall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm still being, I need a lot of back ones to read. How often does Grow Compost pick up our,
Every week, I think.
is it every
From the amount of bills we get from.
I think it is in the summer and in the winters. Maybe every 2 weeks. No cheese?
No, thank you.
I'll eat your shit.
That's fine, we can.
Like, sure.
Go home and have dinner. I can't fill up on cheese.
Oh, I can't.
You can easily fill up on cheese.
It's Devin
Still
making
have
supper?
No, I will make dinner when I go.
What's for supper?
Salmon and quinoa and Brussels sprouts.
Oh, man.
Wow, you're like,
Mike's favorite. Quinoa.
Yeah.
David's
What time
cooking
is
an upper
supper?
quinoa.
I don't
What's
know.
that?
What time supper?
Right after this, as soon as I go home, I'll
Yep.
put it in the oven.
Wow.
I don't even know how to say
Immediately
it.
following adjournment.
Immediately following it.
definitely does not sound like it is spelled.
No,
What is it?
it's Quion.
What?
Quinoa. What is quinoa? Not how you spell it.
Is it part of a cow?
Quinoa is like a grain. It's
Oh.
like a rice, yeah.
We should get it in a minute sometimes, yeah. to spell it.
Is it tasty? Or is
It's
it
good, yes.
Seasoned?
Yes.
Before or after it's gone through the water pump?
Yes.
Mike's gluten sensitive.
Are you big gluten free guy over there?
He wants gluten free wheat quinoa.
And
I think it is gluten free.
lactose intolerant. too,
Yeah.
so we can't have ice cream.
Don't bring up those lactose jokes.
No, Devin, he would make dinner, but it would be like frozen pizza.
All right.
Which is fine with me. I like that too. But can't eat frozen pizza.
Maybe
every day.
Tuesday nights have to be frozen pizza.
Yeah.
I think I'm having American chop suey that Rachel made.
Oh, it's not bad.
American made.
American made.
It's right in the heart of America.
West Tunbridge.
John, what are you having for dinner?
I don't know.
Gary,
I don't know either.
Becky?
I don't know.
I had something while I was in Randolph,
No.
because I've spent more time in Randolph than I have in Tunbridge.
Yeah.
Alex is making a movie.
Oh, that's right.
One.
Bye-bye birdie.
Bye bye
Bye,
birdie.
Birdie.
But I'll tell you what, that schedule is the most unpredictable thing I've ever seen.
That's theater. It's theater and a movie. Right? Are they shooting a movie as they do it now? And by the time they actually play, the movie will be done.
Well, so they're making the movie and that will be the play.
Oh, okay.
So it's Bye Bye Birdie, the movie
At the drive-in.
after that.
Hmm.
It's gonna be awesome.
That would be good.
He is very excited that he has that has made this whole world worth it.
Like that.
They do.
Good.
And every night he comes home and he's like, watch this. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his part in the movie?
He is Albert. He is actually a very one of the main characters.
Oh, I've never seen the movie or read the book or anything like that.
You'll have to go to the movie
So I've heard of it.
and then you can see Albert.
I'll go get barbecue and go to the drive-in.
Yeah,
I love that barbecue.
that's good.
So good.
You could send your husband to get barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he's got the,
Immediately following adjournment.
that's right. They'll probably be closed.
And then by the time we went, it was so popular, they had nothing left.
I know. We stopped there just once and it was when they opened in 2019 or something. And yeah, they had like nothing. I'm like, oh, I'll get this. Oh, we're out of that. Okay, I'll try this. Well, we don't have any of that either. So
What's that?
the barbecue place in where Onion
Onion
Flats
Flats.
was.
You ever looked at her hands?
I haven't. Should I not?
I wouldn't, because you won't ever eat there again.
Now,
You do that often when you're in a restaurant, you go back to the kitchen and look at the hands.
No, when she slams the french fries over the counter.
Transparency.
That was it for me.
were these flags American made?
They were.
Excellent. Made in
They're
West Country.
Chinese flags, but they're American made. So that'd be a good story if there are any American companies that make flags for China.
I would probably just assume no.
I do not.
This new lunch wagon in Randolph right on Hospital Hill there.
Mhm.
Larry said they have pulled pork stuff. And he said it's really good.
There's one in Battery that looks pretty good, the barbecue one, and then there's that. Have you had the taco truck
no,
down at the
have you?
hospital? No.
Yeah.
That's what that is?
That was good.
Yeah.
Others having a taco truck for her wedding.
Oh, yeah, we had one for a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
she getting
I
married?
October 2nd or 3rd, or something like that. I stopped up a creaming machine too.
Yeah,
Got a man working on it. Made creamies at the wedding.
oh, you're not using to have them at the shop.
No, you get much.
Bernie be there today.
Yeah, I know. Too many people hanging around already.
A couple other businesses.
Do we want to, do we have to make a motion to approve warrants?
Or do we just sign them?
No,
Been so long, I don't
we
know.
just signed it.
Okay.
so.
You just write it down. That we sign.
Check. Approved.
Make a
Um,
motion that we did sign it.
make a motion to sign them. So other business, Mariah Lawrence emailed this over. It's a sketch of the fence as well as a little bit of the cost. It's gonna be $8,500. They've received 10,400 in donations for Sue. And with the additional $1,800 memorial fund, they will have lots to work with, she said. Gordy said the materials will take about 10 weeks to arrive. It is a vinyl fence. And they'd love to purchase an arbor for the front.
I got an arbor, we'll rent them.
Oh, that
I've
one
seen
that
that.
you just put up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an arbor?
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
You have a new island?
Yeah.
At
Final one?
the home residence?
Yeah.
Or for your
Final
cows to
one.
walk to in the barn?
Yeah. I just put it up Sunday.
Nice. Where'd that come from?
Oh, Lori was a smart shopper, and she bought it. Down in Rockland. I didn't realize the fence was gonna go all the way around, that's why it's so expensive.
Mhm.
It's okay.
I don't think this is strong to scale.
Right, well, maybe it says here, but she was telling me yesterday that she was in contact with you about the boundary between the fairgrounds.
Yeah,
and-
so I sent her a survey that I had that was from the Good Nows discussing this,
Mhm.
but she didn't really specify what boundary line she was looking for, so I had assumed that this was the discrepancy. But I do have to look a little bit more into this one between the fairgrounds and the back there, and see if I can find that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have 10 weeks, but
Yeah.
we'll try to get it
Yeah.
nailed down
I'm
before
sure
then.
we'll.
I'm sure there's a survey or something somewhere.
How much do they have in donations from Sue?
10,400 about, she said. And then you wanted to bring up at the meeting, pulling out some money from the Comstock fund.
Yeah.
I was supposed to remind you.
That's,
That's my
Do
reminder.
they need it?
they, I don't know if they need it, in particular if they've got 10,400. But they were also talking, or she was also talking about maybe put some sort of an awning off the back of
Mhm.
the building.
And some sort of like storytelling, like amphitheater type of thing.
Yes,
too.
and a sandbox and
Yeah.
some other stuff. So maybe they do need it.
Well,
I don't know.
can we get a budget then, sort of, or estimate of what it might be?
I think so. Just
I'll ask her to get an estimate on the rest of the stuff she wants to
Right.
do.
No, I'm totally in favor, but if they don't need it, we just
Right.
probably use it for something else.
Well, the trustees of public funds usually want requests before the end of June,
Right,
so we have to request it now,
Right.
and it seems kind of,
I think they're reversing those ideas
okay,
because they want to have them more in line with the actual fiscal years. Because they're often getting those, they're getting confused about what fiscal years we are working in.
The library or
No,
the
the trustees
trustees.
of public funds. So I think they are.
Oh, if people request it now, is it for next year or is it the one we're in?
Yes, which was confusing for
I
a
can see
lot of
that.
people. So I think that they're working on having people make requests in July.
hey, that'll work perfect.
that was very perfect.
That way, they're making the request in the fiscal year, which they want to
Right.
see.
I always thought that made more sense, but
I always wondered why they were like, we want them at the end of June. I was
Right,
like, for last year or for the coming year? I
Right.
don't know, like, I don't know,
right.
but I think that's sort of their plan is to shift it a month so that it,
I never could see why it really mattered in the end.
Well,
Anyway,
for the school it matters. Because they end up spending the money and then wanting.
Who's in charge of cemetery lots?
Baxter Doty.
Yeah, I believe Baxter is, yeah.
At the new cemetery?
Oh, so that also depends on what
No,
cemetery.
that. No,
New-
I wanna
newish.
drop my house.
oh, that's different.
Are you buying lots there next to Thankful?
My daughter wants one.
She's getting married and she's buying a cemetery.
And ahead,
That's a good way to ruin a good relationship.
maybe she's not buying it for herself. So the pen is,
Right.
ink is on the paper.
Right. Or else.
Is the new potential husband a good guy?
You're on Zoom.
Yeah, this is being
Being
recorded.
Yes, and no, he's a flatlander, but I guess it's not his fault. but He's like true turbo,
He's from Colchester.
anywhere.
Is this the one that makes the candy or is it a different one?
No, this one works in that water testing place down Lebanon. You know, they do it, for towns and everything. And he just went down to Seabrook this week. There, for some, how to do something. It's not testing nuclear
Yeah.
And what's that?
waste, but anyway, he's been down there. But he's been down there for, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 years. Manager, foreman, something.
Sounds steady.
So Mariah, you were gonna ask about an estimate for the fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, the other thing is, right, if they had too much money, they might have a little fund, if there's some leftover money, just for maintenance of the fence and,
Yeah,
flowers and trees and
Right.
stones and things like that in the future. If they wanna spruce it up.
that fence is gonna be really cute, I think.
Yeah.
What's a TS attendant?
Transfer station.
Huh?
Transfer station.
Oh.
But Mariah also said that where we fixed the entranceway from the town, from the state road in through a few years ago, it still creates a puddle there at times. So she said people have to walk around
The little bridge over it.
it. That's the thing.
Boy, I
Surplus.
want to move. Sitting there.
Just can't fix that spot.
No,
Yeah, isn't there a drain at the low spot supposedly?
supposedly, yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I'll try to stop my
Who was the last person to fix that?
hook.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's
So,
all I have.
other business. Eileen?
Uh-oh, the water's
Just-
crashing.
Not paying attention.
She just went to sleep.
Did you want to talk about
What?
effort
Oh,
that might apply to Tunbridge?
I can talk about it a bit, but I should probably just send information ahead of time and get on the agenda,
Sure.
so it's warned or whatever.
You want me to do for next week then, or not next week, the next meeting?
Yeah, I can email it to you, just as like a sort of intro. I'm on this working group with some Stratford residents, and right now we're working on a bunch of anti-racism stuff. We're reviewing the anti-racism policy for FBUD and the supervisory union and giving feedback on that. But we also wrote up an anti-discrimination policy for the Stratford Selectboard for elected officials, which is kind of something that I think may have been in their policies for hired people, employees, but not for elected officials. And so I was just going to share that with you all to see if it was something you're interested in. I think once Stratford passed it, Sharon expressed interest in wanting to look at it and everything. So, but I can forward it along for next meeting, and that'll be on the agenda.
There was also that issue of how towns might go about trying to get rid of an elected official who
Oh, oh yeah. So part of it too is that, there's no way to remove an elected official unless you have a town charter right now. And there are lots of towns in Vermont that have it. And it's doing your due diligence. It's not just being able to, have some one person be like, you have to go, because you're an elected official. So you get voted in. But it's, signing a certain percentage of people signing a petition. It depends on the town. Some people it's like 5%, some people it's, sometimes towns it's 10%. And so we are our group is we started talking with Tim Briglin and the Stratford rep about the state, having like a statewide sort of policy that towns could use if they ever got into a situation where they needed to remove an elected official. And this kind of came about because there was an elected official in Stratford who he was a lister, and against his other listers, recommendations, he used a racist term in an official town communication, and then he expressed that he knew no one could remove him, that he was independent of the select board and couldn't be removed until he was voted out. He did end up stepping down, which is fine, but it just kind of brought up the idea of what does someone do if an elected official kind of goes rogue. And I think in a lot of towns, it's not only is it like the public signing a petition, but the select board then has to decide. So it's like a dual process, it's not just one, just the public or just the select board decides. It's a, whole thing. But that's something that we're talking to the state. I still can't remember the head of that committee, John, at the state level.
Oh, Sarah Hanses, who's chair of government operations.
Yeah, so I think Tim was going to bring that idea to her, since that would be in her committee. It would fall into her. So anyway, that was kind of stuff that we're working on.
Yeah, I wonder what, like, if we had a constable who, thought they had a lot.
No, thank you. That's one thing I don't.
No, I was
Yeah,
thinking,
you're elected.
you were elected, we
Appointed.
could move you on.
What it-
Too powerful.
It's too late. But I wonder if, like, a constable, for example, are elected, but they kind of serve us in some ways, right? Or we have certain, we give them parameters, like.
Well, I
to
agree
carry
with
a
this
gun,
because I think, somebody could. Town clerk isn't responsible to anybody.
Right.
And what do you do about it?
Right. We don't impeach them, right? We don't have impeachment powers.
No. I think we're lucky because we all have you, of course, but if someday we're not as lucky at Tunbridge and, someone gets elected into one of your positions and they're really terrible, we need to do something.
I suppose even if you elected a treasurer and she could have. No, but I'm
No,
saying.
Right.
I think
We
could-
had that happen,
And
right?
she couldn't do.
treasurer should be appointed.
And-
We should really look. That's
Yes.
like, that's a serious.
But that's another example. If
Yes.
you get somebody in,
Does
that
take a charter change? Or
I don't know.
So actually, I think embezzlement is the only reason you can remove an elected official. But I don't think it just applies to the treasurer. It's anybody who embezzles. And that is a state thing, statewide, doesn't require a charter.
We had Lynn Kowski, who I think is a lovely person. She was over her head.
Right.
And she was having, she still has, she doesn't even remember the hospital anymore because she gets so anxious every time.
like PTSD.
Yeah. I went to one of those select board meetings. I would have PTSD if I dealt with someone badly. That was terrible. So, but she just was way over her head and she made a mess of everything. It took Betsy and I like months going through everything. Well, we went through everything penny by penny, movement by movement to figure out where things had gone wrong. And then Anne was amazing, and she also started figuring it all out so that we have things clean again. But I mean, it wasn't that she took any money; it was just that she didn't know what she was doing. And fund accounting is not like
To that
store
old.
accounting.
Yeah.
I found out the treasurer had 2 sets of books. If she messed up the first one, so she didn't take any money.
Right, but just so it all came
Well,
out even.
Well, then you made one $150,000 reconciliation adjustment. It was like, whoa, you just can't do that. You can't just me. I'm off $150,000. I'll just make an
Only at the
adjustment.
federal level can you do that.
And that's fine. I was like, whoa, that's not too bad. Yeah.
No, I was wondering about whether, I mean, certain offices have to be elected,
Mhm.
but like we changed road foreperson from, it used to be an elected position,
Yes.
the commissioner,
Yeah.
to an appointed position, and what we have to do in town if, for example, we were gonna make the treasurer an appointed position or a hired position.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As I understand it, we just have to warn
You have to
a
vote
town
at a
town meeting that we're gonna
then
make
vote
that
for it.
change and then vote for it, but
Mhm.
there may be more to it than that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. And town clerk has to be elected, I think. It's not like
I think they can
No.
appoint town
No, I
clerk,
think
too.
you're gonna.
the select board can appoint a town clerk.
I don't care.
I think
If
so.
the town
If
office.
the
John,
town-
it seems like you're trying to. Ah.
We need some checks and balances.
She's got it, she's got it. No, but I think it's the same thing, we have to go to town meeting, right, ask if the town wants
We
us.
did that in Chelsea 2 years ago.
All right.
It's a appointed position now.
Yeah, both town clerk and treasurer. And I know their treasurer walked the second that they made that change.
Yeah.
She. up and said, "Oh, yeah."
But I would like to do that.
I
For
would
next
love
town
for you
meeting.
guys to do that. I think.
For both.
I don't know about town clerk, but I think I would feel like the town is safer if it's an appointed position.
The end is near.
Well, not
You know
necessarily.
what?
Well, maybe it goes both ways. Maybe the town clerk and treasurer can present to the town that the select board should be actually picked by them.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll see
Yeah.
we'll see how supper goes tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, you're coming over for dinner, and then if I do well, then I can keep my job. Thank
If you're not poisoned.
you.
except brownies and cake and stuff like that too.
I know. I made you a cupcake.
How do you feel? Would you prefer to be appointed or be like,
It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care. I mean, it's nice.
is
that
it a 3-year term?
I'm only until next year
No,
at this
so
point.
next year.
No, but in
But
general, it's
yes,
3
it
years.
is.
It changed.
So there was a bit of
Yeah.
some job security.
It used to
at
be
least.
every year.
Right, and that was scary.
I mean, do you think that the town clerk is something that should be appointed and not elected?
I mean, I just feel
Right.
like at town meeting, anybody could kind of stand up and say
Right.
that they would want to be town clerk, and kind of everybody else would say, sounds good,
Yeah.
even,
Right.
and then it would be
Popularity
somebody,
contest. I
Right,
think.
And I think your position is getting into so much stuff that you gotta have somebody that's capable.
well, that's the thing, is like, it could just be like maybe Baxter wants to be town clerk, and then everybody says, sounds good, and then he
Oh,
comes
please.
in and says,
Such a nice guy.
he's not sure where to pick. I mean, I think it
Right.
should probably be appointed so that you could look at somebody's credentials and
Right.
say, what's your background? Like, can you use Microsoft Outlook? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So probably, yes.
Good.
I mean,
Even
hopefully you
listservs
would
getting
be
there
fine.
too. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all got
exactly.
skilled positions.
Yes. Yeah, boy,
But then-
when Rudy starts talking about different things, it's amazing.
Yeah,
But then, like, they just said on the radio this morning that Barry can't find in a town appraiser or assessor, whatever they
Yeah.
call it there. Like, they had people apply, but they just weren't qualified, and so they're like,
Yeah.
what do we do? We can't fill this job.
Huh,
I think it is hard to find an assessor. It's like they're so overwhelmed. They're so few of them.
Yeah. Don't really go to college to be a municipal assessor.
you just tried to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's something we should, do we have a file? Sometimes we talked about either digital or hard copy of just things we sort of want to bring up at town meeting.
I can create one.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. Because that's something we should talk
Yeah,
about.
because I meant to even mention that at town meeting this last year, and then of course it came and went. I
Right.
Forgot all about it.
Town meeting. Appointing.
And the surplus is another.
um,
Oh,
treasurer.
so the other other business was, I did the TQ. Did you see Janet? She sent me an email about wondering about shindigs and what the,
Oh, I guess I must have glossed over that, thinking it was a TQ reminder or something.
what the capacity was. Because she had heard 50, and I think at the moment when she sent that, it was 30, and then Judy had some research, and now it's completely
Wide open. isn't it?
wide open. I
That's
guess
what I
up to the
thought.
discretion of the select board.
Once the governor lifted the,
Right.
And so I said, I thought we would just follow, whatever the governor's recommendations are. And in that case, since they're wide open, it would be like fire code, right?
yes, yeah,
Which is
149 or
something like that, yeah.
And I think especially maybe for the summer, that's fine. But maybe, because we don't know what's gonna happen in the fall and the winter.
Right.
We
if
might
there's
have
a
to
relapse,
reevaluate.
But that's what I'm saying. Hopefully the state would give us guidance.
Yes,
on that.
yeah,
So as far as I know, I mean, shindigs are, she can plan on them.
Yep.
Pending,
Back on.
and I wondered about the rec committee, have they said anything about having breakfast again or anything?
I know they've mentioned it. I heard when they wanna start again. They have a tournament they're having on the field this weekend, so.
I guess as far as I'm concerned, they can have breakfast because the state said we can.
Yeah.
Other business is, there's gonna be a parade on the 5th of July,
Right.
and it's,
Tracy Lemmel's number.
I might even have it on.
Is it going to be on Main Street now?
Yep.
Okay.
So somebody needs to get hold of Orange County Sheriff's Department and tell them
Road closure.
road closure.
Okay. What time is it? Is it gonna be at 10 a.m.?
Tracy said 10 o'clock.
Tennis, yeah.
And they're gonna do some sort of like Memorial Day.
It's gonna be
presentation.
present of a service, not a service either, but a thing on Hoyt Memorial Park. And Aileen said they're gonna actually give some history on why it is Hoyt Memorial Park, which I don't know. why it is.
I'm
So
always
have
curious
the
about that.
Hoyts there.
Yeah,
Yes,
I feel like it's because there's isn't there a person on the monument?
well, that's just your generic Civil War person.
Yeah, but wasn't that had some thing to do with?
Somebody that served, it was a Hoyt
Yeah,
during the Civil
And the
War
name,
or
yeah.
something.
but I don't know that for certain.
Is the whole cemetery or Memorial
I
Park,
think
or it's just that little section?
But
Yeah.
Memorial Park is just a little downward part.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
the part
Oh.
where we as a town are responsible for that little section.
And the cemetery commission is responsible.
Didn't know that.
That's neat.
Anyway, there's gonna be chickens sold by the fire department and
Oh, we contact them.
probably Jan or
Simon.
Simon's wife, what's her name? Can't think of it now.
Jamie.
Jamie, yeah. And then I called Kathy Galuzzo wondering about the rec committee was gonna give away ice cream and maybe have cow bingo or something like that.
Put it in the PQ.
Yeah.
Might be some clogging.
And the library's gonna do a plant sale, bake sale,
Book club.
book
Yeah,
sale,
book
no,
sale.
no, not plant sale, book sale. Seems like there was something else,
Yeah.
oh, the-
Bake, book and bake or something.
Yeah. and then the Friends of the Fair are gonna sell their duck tickets for the price.
The normal Memorial Day.
Pretty much, except for, I don't think there's gonna be anything in this town hall for, I never went to that, so I don't even know what that was.
That was the bake sale.
No, wasn't there some sort of service in the town hall? At least it-
I think that was in the church.
Anyway,
No cannons.
no, not since Pete's been gone.
During the salute. Cathedrals, going down the salute.
I'm not sure about
Yes,
that.
Tracy.
Because this is the difference between July 4th, Memorial
Right.
Day, it's less. So that'll be interesting to
Right.
see.
Tracy's doing the parade, but Elaine Howe and others are doing this over here. So if you got any questions about that, probably what Elaine,
I'm
her number is
excited.
5560.
Did you all hear about Euclid?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not.
Euclid,
You
yesterday,
did?
yeah,
When?
yesterday.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, Emily's writing a piece for the Herald. The Valley News is doing.
Yep, nice.
Is there someone now taking over the historical society?
Nick.
It's president.
Yeah, Nick.
Nick
McGuire.
McGuire, yeah.
That's exciting.
I think that's it.
A new fiscal year.
Everything starts fresh again.
Yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I third it.
I forgot how big my trophy is compared to yours
Compared to mine,
and yours.
Brenda's got her,
maybe the town clerk and the treasurer should have.
have you got any trophies or anything, Mariah?
I don't, I'm a loser.
No? Well, just because you're
Very
not close, I
confident
mean,
for a
you're-
But your husband has.
That's right, he does.
Okay.
Hi, thanks.
Bye.